what do you guys understand as the purpose of this conversation right now?
I think that it's to help us to understand what we're supposed to do during our, when we come up with ideas to do, during our debriefing and stuff like that.
Okay, so have clarity for what our week's going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that's definitely an outcome for identifying weekly runs. Sure. What else do you guys understand as the purpose of this? I'd like to hear from Denzel as well, and Kathy and Sherry.
Or you watch the movie, the video?
Well, everyone in the room watched it except for you. Well, no. Everybody saw the video. You were here live when it was recorded, so we've all been exposed to the stuff so far.
I'd like to take a shot at it.
Alright.
So that everyone can get clarity on what their individual monthly missions are, how we go about choosing those, and we can see where everyone is at in regards to that. Having a monthly mission, and how they, what roles and things that they play in moving our goals forward. We can all be on the same page.
Yeah, certainly. Absolutely. Why else do you guys think we're here?
I was thinking it was for the IMM, the individual monthly mission, the part that you play in the AOI monthly mission.
Okay. Yes, that's right. That's choosing the individual monthly mission.
Right.
What about you, Denzel? Do you know why we're having this?
No. It's in about 6-inch, but
okay. And then Sherry, do you know why we're here?
I would say, to choose the individual monthly mission, and also to see how we can help others.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. How to help others. Absolutely. Very huge. Okay. So I'll share. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Kamran, I didn't hear you share. Why do you think we're here? Okay. So the reason why we're here is because people are unclear on how they fit. Like Sherry has expressed that she feels that she's not really contributing to the bigger picture, and she wants to contribute more. Kathy wants to feel that the work that she does is valuable and that it's really meaningful and essential, just like all of us want to feel that way. But I find that Satan tempts each individual with a lot of the same temptations. We feel like we're the only one going through the question, but really everyone is having that feeling like I'm out of the loop, everybody understands it but me, and what I'm doing doesn't really matter, or I'm not really involved in a monthly mission. These are how many people have believed any of those beliefs that I just shared? Yeah. You've never believed that, Kathy? Not one of them?
I just, maybe my brain just thought of the one that I didn't, and I didn't hear the other ones.
Your brain focused on the one that didn't apply?
Yeah.
Which one do you feel that was?
I have a monthly mission every month with my name on it that I'm responsible for. And
So you didn't hear, okay. Have you ever felt that what you're doing doesn't really matter?
No, because
You've never once felt that at all? That the work you do isn't that important? Everyone else's work is important but yours? You've never had that belief? Even in the study?
maybe I have. Maybe I have had in the past.
Maybe? Okay. Have you ever believed that everybody else is very clear on what they're doing, but I'm out of the loop? That it makes sense to others, but I'm kind of stuck. I don't really get what I'm doing?
Yeah, that one I can relate
You
to.
felt that? Okay. So there's a few beliefs like that I shared. I'm glad you identified that your brain focused on one that didn't apply and then you didn't hear the others. Does that make sense? So, because those are not unique to you, many people, I'd say if we're honest, we've all felt those different beliefs, and they don't feel good. And what that does is it isolates us from working together as a family, as a team. And so I wanted to make an effort to address that. One of my objectives since September has been to see how can we encourage working together. Conran has a great desire that he wants to connect with people. He wants to be helpful for people. He wants to make a significant difference in people's lives. And he doesn't want to be so detached from others. So these are all, this is all going to require teamwork. It's all going to require working together, helping others, knowing where we fit, our individual role, the part that we play. And so in order to, there's multiple things we've been doing to solve this problem. One of the recent things, we're making a distinction between personal monthly missions, which people weren't really making too many personal monthly missions, it seems. But we're making a distinction between personal and individual. Now we're saying that you as an individual, what is your part to play? How do you have an individual part within those 3 to 5, even if your name isn't, even if you're not the DRI? Who remembers what the DRI is?
Directly responsible individual.
And what does a directly responsible individual do? I'm glad you got the right answer, but do you have the meaning?
You create the IMM for others on the stepping stones.
That's regurgitating what is written, but that's not really what the DRI does.
We're the ones who's in control of making sure that the mission is met.
Yeah, they're the ones who are responsible for making sure the mission is met. So when there's 3 to 5, the DRI is a person whose name is directly responsible. Now,
It's like the manager.
Yeah, it's the manager, the overseer, the one who, if it doesn't happen, it's their responsibility. If it does happen, then it was their responsibility for leading the team to make that happen. So, question, is the DRI the only person who is involved or working or
No.
responsible for this mission?
No.
No. We say that easily, but then when it comes to seeing our individual role as it relates to those 3 to 5, then we're like, well, what can I do? Or we ask lousy questions like, can I do anything? And our mind always goes to no. Instead of assuming, how can I help? Like this is a great question. How can I help with making this? Assuming there is an answer, I will find it would be worth it to do. So we get confused.
You know what I do?
What's that?
I think if they want me to help, then they're going to ask me, because otherwise they don't need me yet. They might need me. I might know that they need me, but they might not need me yet.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. I didn't know that. That's very helpful. So for everyone who's working with people, just know that that's a belief that mom gets tempted with thinking. So if you're wanting to work with her or involve her, I'm not saying that you got to keep believing that, but that's going to be an inclination that we now recognize you have.
Hopefully this is why you're having this, right?
Yeah.
To overcome a
Yeah,
thought like that.
exactly. That's exactly why we're doing this. There's different beliefs.
Catching on a little bit.
Praise the Lord, you're doing great, Mom.
I
Yes,
think
go
I
ahead.
kind of lean along that direction as well.
Okay, that's good.
So
That's
that's
really good to know.
common. It might be a common belief.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe it's common. And I think that the way that I would reframe it, another way, so that's a belief, a lousy question could be if they really need my help, why haven't they asked me
It's
for
not
it yet?
really. It's not what we're saying in our head, really. It's like, if you're going to the store and you're going to use my credit card and I'm with you, you wouldn't really need me there until the end.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and you're right, the word really is probably not the best. I'm just on the cuff trying to come up with something.
Sorry.
So the belief is if I'm needed, or when, no, not if, but when I'm needed,
Yes.
then someone will ask me for help. Okay, so that is, that belief, I want to really, really,
Squash that belief.
Yeah, but do it in a way that makes a lot of sense, because that is the opposite of the ant. And I want to say this in a very kind, loving, gentle, like very respectful manner. Do you, how do I say this?
The ant thou sluggard.
It's like,
I don't know, is that gentle?
well, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, that's a sluggard belief of a sluggard, where it says, go to the ant thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. But it's like I'm not
But
calling
it's not-
people a sluggard.
It's not really that we're not doing anything, we're just sitting there, chewing our fingernails waiting for
Yeah.
somebody to call us or
Sure.
something.
I think the question that when we look at like value or priority or importance or leverage, it's not really like a toggle switch that it's either on or off. It's a spectrum. Like on a scale from 1 to 10, how impactful, how high leverage, how priority is the work that we're doing. And I think the big part is like, I know we're all busy. Busy work does not always mean productive work. And it doesn't always feel like it's meaningful work. So we want to do work that's meaningful, that's like a 10, right? The closest to a 10 that we can get. And do things that are like really high leverage, very impactful, very valuable to the team, and that makes a big difference. Does that make sense, right? Mm-hmm. So I will say, like, are you guys okay if I share some things? I'm not talking about people, I'm just talking about beliefs.
Yeah.
And like recognizing that you are not the belief. Your belief was just, like, these are words, a lot of times they're suggestions of the enemy, and just because we've cultivated them, it does not mean who we are. Your identity is in Christ. Yeah? Okay, I see head nods. So the belief that it's like, when I am needed, they will ask me, is a belief of a sloth, not an ant, because the ants, the scripture says the ants, they have no what over them?
Master.
They have no overseer. Yes, they have no overseer. So what does that mean? An overseer it's like basically like a DRI. Like the way that our brains, Satan has been wiring our brain to see the DRI is like they're the overseer. They're the sole responsible person for making sure I have work to do, that I have things to do, that when they ask me for help, then I'll be mobilized. Then I'll know that I'm needed. And if I'm not asked, then I'm not needed. So let me go find some busy work. This is usually our comfort zone. This is usually the area that we are inclined to the most. We see it and this is usually like the easy things. I'll say these are usually like the easy things that we're used to, that we do the most. And then I'll say that this is challenging. And then uncomfortable. We start doing things that are of like less. It's just busy work. Like this is yeah, like some of the busy work things, or sometimes we get these ideas and we're like, oh, I know just what to do, and then we like go off on this project or something, and it's not really productive. It's not really what we're working towards. It's not really in harmony. It's just kind of like for instance, I'll give you an example. So Shanicia was, before we started working with the individual monthly mission, she was thinking what I could do is, since there's like responsible people and we got focus and we got the 3 to 5, they're very clear on who's doing that, then that's already covered. For my individual monthly missions, I'm going to do something. She wanted to work on emails, like an email sequence. She's like, I'm going to do this. And that's because no one else is doing that. And that's like, it's important to do. It needs to be done. It's very important. But what's the danger of her working on emails while we're working on like a funnel and content for us? Does anybody see a challenge with that? Go ahead.
It isolates me from working with other people because nobody else is focused on that thing, and then also there'll be no help if I needed help.
Yeah.
So in order for me to get help, I take other people's focus away from what the monthly missions are.
Yeah, does that make sense? You want to share?
Yeah, the allocation of resources. We got different people focused on one thing and then another person on something else. That's not the most efficient way to do things.
No, it's not. Exactly. So these are all things that we want to kind of avoid. But we start doing these, and I think the initiative was great. I think the intention, motive was wonderful. And God cares
But
about
when do
that.
we do emails?
When we make it our monthly mission soon. And also part of the funnel, we realized just yesterday, right? That part of the funnel is we have a lead magnet and we need an email sequence for the funnel. So instead of her just doing random, like choosing like, hey, which one should we do? And it wouldn't be random, like she'd have a method to it, but it's disconnected email sequence. We now have creating the Enoch Leffingwell Funnel Hub. That's like, we need an email sequence for that. So then we just realized like, oh, boom, that's how we could do that. So
I don't understand. So we're all going to get together and do emails with her?
That's not what I said.
I don't understand what you're saying. That's what I'm gathering out of it. She was trying to do emails, but that wasn't a good time because not everybody's working on emails. So when is it that she works on emails? When do we all work on emails with her?
Well, the truth is that she is able to work on emails. Just one of the monthly missions is creating the Enoch Leffingwell Funnel Hub. In the Enoch Leffingwell Funnel Hub, there's an opt-in for people to join our email list, and they need an email sequence to do that. So this month, she's able to do that. In order for us to accomplish the monthly mission, we require her role. We need her individual role of emails to finish the funnel that we're creating.
I see.
Does that make sense?
So she only does that while you're doing the funnel, and only on the funnel.
She would mostly prioritize that only while we're doing one of the 3 to 5 monthly missions. But yeah, if we're doing a work-a-thon, the work-a-thons are based on our monthly missions. While we're working on the funnel for the monthly missions, that's when she's working on that.
But what about the other emails that need to be done?
We have limited resources, just like what Karen said. We don't have, like, there are things that are outside of her current capacity, her current skill set, that she requires the assistance of others. And while other people are preoccupied with this project, then it's harder for her to get the assistance she's looking for. And if she does get the assistance on other funnels, then there's less resources going to our monthly mission, and that's when we will fail. We'll go from failure to failure. We have a small team, and even the bodies that we have, the skills in internet marketing we have, and sales persuasion and like business is less. Like our skill in business is not as strong as like say like Myron Golden's team. They got some very expert type people. Brendan Burchard's team, very specialized niche people. And that's not to fault anyone. Praise God, we're starting. A lot of people don't get to where we are. But we have to be mindful of our skill sets and our focus and our limited resources. So it's allocating. We get more done by focusing on doing less better, and the less we do has a greater impact because we prioritize. Does that make sense? So, okay, I'll say another reason. What's your thought? I want to hear what you say. Another reason why I want to come together is because I gave an assignment to Mom Shanice and Katharina to give me a 6-inch putt for them to share with me 3 possible individual monthly missions that they could here, this is what I was talking about. What is this? Oh, that was describing.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. That's why it was my association. So this is your monthly mission. When other people have monthly missions, when your name is not a directly responsible person for one of the 3 to 5, then what is your responsibility is to create your individual monthly missions, right? And so I asked Katharina, Mom, and Shanicia if they could create 3 possible monthly missions that how their role fits within 3 to 5. And then Mom was struggling with trying to come up with 3 or wrapping her mind around how that fits. So what I want to do here is that I want to, like, we're having this conversation for Mom because I want to go through you as an example to help you to navigate.
I think that would be really good.
Yeah, and by helping you, I believe that the same process that you and I will go through will apply to Kathy and answer her questions, will apply to Sherry and answer her questions. And like 80-90% of what I share with you is going to apply for everyone. And then Denzel, and another reason why we're having this is because Denzel, you have questions about the individual monthly missions and how we're prioritizing and choosing what we're focusing on, and how the people's big 5 roles fit together with the monthly missions, and like the pipeline prioritizing, choosing high leverage activities and things that we are, and like choosing how to prioritize your focus, and knowing how the like especially that second monthly mission that is heavily involved with this. You were wondering, you were unclear about. You felt like you were very low on clarity. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping from this conversation we can make progress on that regard. But the primary purpose of this hour is for Mom, and then after this hour, I want to address even more directly like your questions that I think will help anyone else too. I know Kathy and Sherry can't stay for that, but for the direction Work-A-Thon, I wanted to help more directly address your questions.
I don't think I could stay either.
Okay,
Just only have
sounds good.
okay.
So you were going to say something.
I was just clarifying in my mind
Please do.
that, and Brother Kamran touched on it. I mean, there's so many good things we can do, but if we're not all putting the effort into the monthly missions, the key things that are going to move the dominoes the most, then although they're good things, that's not our focus. And
Correct.
that's what I was just trying to
express, so to deepen the impression?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
You got it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Are there any questions about what Kathy just shared? Did you listen to what she said?
I
Because
did,
she was
I was
talking
reading.
about... Okay, she's referring to what your question is. Can you repeat what you said?
There are so many good things that all of us could be doing, but if we're not focused on those key monthly missions, then we're really not accomplishing together what is the most important. And that's why we spend so much time with selecting those monthly missions that are going to be
Yes.
so key, because we could
Yes.
all be doing things,
Yes.
but it's what's going to move the needle forward the most is what we want to together and focus on.
Absolutely. Did that make sense to you, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Same thing you were saying.
Yes. We have, and I know that all of us have somewhat limiting beliefs on focus to varying degrees or spectrums. And I find that the more that we cultivate a character of focus, which requires leverage, which requires prioritizing, which requires elimination and automation, the more that we focus and cultivate our focus muscle, we will get more things done. And that's why the monthly missions are longer, because it's such a high leverage conversation and decision that we're making, because it dictates like scores of hours or hundreds of hours collectively combined that we're going to put into the next 30 days. That 2.5 hours, our goal is like an hour to 2 hours, but the reason why it takes a while is because that's going to determine hundreds of hours of our combined labor of what we're focusing on, and we want to make sure that we're prioritizing the best, and we're analyzing the past month, getting perspective, and we're casting the future possibilities for the future, and then prioritizing like a champ to identify the highest leverage things we're going to spend hundreds of hours of our life investing in. And we want to make sure that these things matter most. Does that make sense? Because we just can't do everything as much as we'd like to. So rather than her work on emails for, say, the challenge sequence, she could work on emails with the funnel hub, while there's like as many minds as possible working towards how can we build this funnel. Does that make sense? So for you, how does this fit in the context of what you're doing? You have roles, you have skills. What part can you play in reaching the individual monthly mission? What part can you play creating an individual monthly mission that is accomplishing the funnel hubs. Okay. I believe one thing that you have, like with writing email sequences, you know what she's helping with the email? You know what's required to write the email sequences?
To a template? I don't know.
Great guess. It's something I'm studying on for a month. This month of mastery for me.
Leverage.
Nope, that's for the year. This month is a part of how you leverage.
Okay.
Shanicia, what do you require to do the email sequences?
You're tracking character stuff because you're writing an origin story. So for one of the email sequences, you need it needs to follow a storyline, and so that's what we're working on. That's a part of the funnel hub as well.
So the major question that all of us need to train our brain, like default question to ask, is how can I help? How can my unique skills contribute to accomplishing this monthly mission? You want to know the question to not ask?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Can I?
Because I have a lot of those. But no, I know. I really do know
What do you know?
what not to ask.
Oh, go ahead.
Can
share.
I be of help? Is there anything I can do?
Okay.
Those are questions not to ask.
Why? Why do you think that
Because
is?
the answer is there's always something I can do to help. I just have to know what can I do to help.
Yeah. And before you know what you can do to help, you have to believe there is a way. I will find it, and it will be worth it when I do. It's not enough to ask great questions. Like, how can I assist or help with reaching this monthly mission? We have to know, we have to believe with absolute certainty. We have to ask in faith, not wavering, James says. Otherwise, the man who's double-minded, he's unstable in all his ways, what can he not expect, according to James 1? The man who asks, like, how can I help? Oh, yeah, how can I help? It's like asking in doubt. It's like, how can I help? Kind of like it's like a joke or something. What does James 1 say that man can not expect?
To receive anything.
He can't expect to receive anything of the Lord. You guys familiar with that verse, right? Okay.
I'm not.
You're not? Well, we could read it. James, I think this is essential because James chapter 1, verse 5. Sherry wants to know how to help people. And I believe this is one of the most valuable lessons we could learn. And this is overcoming the belief that when I am needed, I will be asked. No, you won't. You won't be asked when you're needed. You are needed before you ask. So, James chapter 1, verse 5. Mom, would you like to read verse 5 through 8?
Sure. It says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed to and fro. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
So we see very clearly, it's not enough to ask great questions. We have to ask in faith, nothing wavering. Ask with absolute certainty in what? That there is an answer, I will find it, and it will be worth it till when I do. If we don't believe any one of those statements, then we're not going to have the answer. And if we don't ask in faith, then don't expect you will receive an answer. The question doesn't give you the answer. Asking the question in faith gives you the answer. Does that make sense? So we ask, how can I help accomplish? How can my skills? What does, like asking how and what questions? Those are going to be help. What does my unique role have to offer this monthly mission? Or how does my skill, my interest, and this is the secret of being able to do this, is learning to relate. Relation. relate is an important skill. Learning to relate what I want to do, like the monthly mission, I want to help, or I want, like all of us, we want to accomplish these monthly missions. And we relate what we want to do with what we're already doing. That's our role. That's our skills. That's our experience. How can this monthly mission relate to what I'm already doing, what I already know, what I already have to offer? These are great questions. When we believe there's an answer, we will find it, it'll be worth it when we do, then we start being extremely helpful. And you know what that does for us? It allows us to be independent thinkers and not waiting for an overseer to give us work, but it helps us to look for work, find it. Jesus said, seek and you shall find. So when we focus, we're going to find the work, then we can start doing it. We can be helpful. Because let me ask you a question. How many people feel that there's a lot to do here? Like, we got a lot on our plate, and it's like, there's quite a bit to do, okay? Now, let me ask you, do you think it is more valuable, more helpful to, like, if someone has a lot on their plate to do, it's more helpful for them to now have to be responsible for figuring out what you can do too? Like, if they're trying to figure out what to do, now they have to figure out what you have to do, and then go seek you out or chase you down and go find you and ask you to help, or ask you if you could help. Do you think that is like more valuable, or is that like more burdensome? That's more of a burdensome. So what if they have a lot on their plate, and then you are asking these great questions? How can I help? How can my role assist? What could I do to move the mission forward? You believe there's an answer, you find it, and then you are coming not just with problems like, hey, we don't know how to do this, I'm stuck with this, I'm confused here. We are not making progress, and like, you're not bringing problems, but you're bringing 6-inch putts. You're bringing 3 possible solutions, and you say, hey, I recognize this as a problem. I found that, I think there's these 3 things that we could do to move the mission forward, but I think this one is the best idea. I think this one is the one we should do, and here's why.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Sometimes when I come down to work with you guys, you're spending so much time either lecturing somebody or teaching somebody, and it's not my role, and it's not my lecture, and I feel like, I could be doing something else. And when I do that over and over and over, I don't want to come down and work. I say, I'll just work up here, and then if I have a question, I'll contact you guys.
When you say it's not my role and it's not my lecture, what do you mean by that?
Just sometimes, like, you're lecturing somebody that, like me and Kathy's pretty much the opposite. You're like, slow down, quit doing that, let somebody else do it. Well, surely that's not my lecture, right? And so to sit there and listen to a lecture like that for an hour, or however long that takes to get through, I'm just sitting here thinking I could be up there. And then another thing is like when you're like we all know how to do slides. Let's say we don't. I need help with slides, but let's say we all knew how to do slides, but one person doesn't. And for everybody to sit there and listen to how to do slides, and I'm just using that as an example because I can't think of one right now, then we're all just sitting there. And with us all just sitting there, I'm thinking, what are we doing? We're got so much work to do. And it happens a lot in the business, in the meetings, the debriefing and stuff like that. It's like, wow, okay. And so the debriefing, instead of being an hour, turns out to be 2, sometimes longer.
So this is a prime example of exactly what I was talking about. Instead of bringing problems, bring 3 possible solutions.
Well, I could go up to my room.
Is that a solution?
That's a solution.
Not what you can do, what we can do.
Well, we could stay faithful to the time that we have.
How do you suggest we do that?
Well, if somebody needs extra one-on-one information, instead of using up everybody's time, maybe somebody could be delegated to teach them if that's what they need.
Do you see that we've done that before?
I've seen that we've done that before and it's worked well, but it seems like we fall back into that same thing over and over
So
again.
if you've seen that we've done it before and it's worked well, do things get repeated more when you reward them or when you like bring up the problems and issues and then
It sounds like you don't want to hear the problems or the issues.
I'm totally fine with hearing things like that.
Well, I know that Janicia was trying to bring to your attention that you were doing that one time, and you didn't even care. You just kept on doing it.
Are you
It
talking
took
about
a lot of our time.
during the debriefing?
No, was it the debriefing? It might have been the debriefing. It was the debriefing, or maybe it was a monthly mission or some. I don't remember what it was, but it like, whew. And then we had to do even another time to make it neat to be done. That meeting to get accomplished.
Okay, so how do you see that this is relevant to what we're talking about right now?
Well,
Because is this an example of the context for you to bring this up?
because I see that because in my heart, that's why I'm not down here. That's why. Well, that's one of the reasons. But that's something that prevents me from. I don't know. It's like if I come to you, I have an issue, and I come to you, and you're like, okay, I'm doing this. We'll deal with that later, right? You say that, right? So I might be
Sometimes.
working on something, and you're working on something different. You say, well, now's not the time for that. Come back to me later, and it seems to me like there's not time to fit when something's needed, and when there's something that's not needed, there's a lot of time fit for that. And
There's
and
not time for something that's needed. I
like
get
in the
what you mean.
meetings, like I was just showing as an example, that there's not time. If there's not time, why are we doing that?
What was the example?
When I'm in the middle of working on something, there's no time for that. I'm in the middle of it. I set it aside, space it
You
out.
lost me a long time ago. I'm not following what you're saying.
Okay.
There is what you're. So I want to be clear. The purpose of this conversation is not to get you to come down here and work with us. That's not what.
No, the purpose of this conversation is to get me to work, right?
Is to help you to prioritize what you can focus and find solutions for yourself. That's the purpose of this conversation.
Okay. We'll drop the subject.
Do you think that the thing that you brought up would help accomplish that purpose?
Yes, I do.
Then, do you think that it would, that your problem applies greatly to like other people?
Yes, I do. Because when that's happening to one person, then there's 2, 4, 6. There's 7, so that would take 5 people who doesn't need to be involved in it.
Okay. I feel like that is a different direction. I think it'd be great to talk about. I'd love to. But it seems that in the context of this conversation, us staying focused on the monthly mission, individual monthly missions, could be more
Okay,
helpful.
let's do it.
Okay. So, do you remember what I was sharing before you brought that up?
You were sharing that we could figure out what our part is in the monthly mission instead of waiting for somebody to come and get us.
Yes. So I was sharing about the 6-inch putt. Before we bring problems, let's bring
Solutions?
Like, it's good that you identify a problem. Entrepreneurs find valuable problems, but they don't just find them, they solve valuable problems. I want to encourage all of us to be problem solvers. The way that we help others is literally train our brains to not just look at the issues, but look at the solutions. Spend 5% of our time thinking about the problems that we face, and 95% of our time thinking about the solutions, so that when you come, you're not waiting, like you have a problem, like I don't know what to do. What would you like me to do? Or like, I don't necessarily want to discourage you from being involved if you're showing an interest. I don't want you to like stop, but I'm teaching more of concepts, ideas, and skills, targets to aim for, and it's a progressive thing. I don't think you change overnight to go from like consuming your life on problems, like a lot of, or being in circles of mentors or people or organizations that just talk so much about problems, to being extremely solution oriented. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. So I'm just sharing where the direction is that we're moving. Does that make sense, people? Yeah? Okay. And I believe that cultivating a 6-inch putt it gives a framework to help us do it when we see a problem. Let's think of like some possible solutions. You could think of five. You could visualize 5 solutions and boil it down to like, okay, here's 3 possible, and this is the one, the highest leverage, the one I recommend. Then come and present the problem. Does that make sense? And when we do this with asking great questions, we're learning how to help others, and we're able to make that happen. Yes.
I know you just started this, and it's mostly for me, but I gotta go. I got something stuck in my tooth that hurts, and I need to get it out because I can't concentrate.
Okay.
And I'll be right back.
All right. Thank you. So, another part that I wanted to ask is for advice. How do you guys suggest being able to help my mom? I do want to help her to see her individual monthly missions. I want to see her be involved and see that she plays a part. She has some unique challenges. You guys see her challenges. You guys see my challenges. See ways that we can improve. What advice could you give me to help assist her? Go for a run.
First of all, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you speak about personal and individual missions, right? So, when you're talking about your mom or relating that to your mom, what is her personal? What is her professional mission?
Welcome, Katharina. I'm glad you're able to join us. I'm going to address your question real quick. We are discussing about individual monthly missions. You came in the perfect time. We're in the direction of Work-A-Thon, and we've got Kamran, Denzel, Sherry, Kathy, Shanicia, myself, and Mom just walked out the room, and we're recording on AOI and organization, and we're discussing how we could be proactive in being involved and not just waiting to be shared what to do, and to be solution oriented. And so that's what our conversation is. And I just asked for advice on how I can help Mom better.
Thank you. I appreciate the update. I'm gonna listen in.
Okay, you're welcome. So your question was, how do we? No, your question was,
What?
what is her personal monthly mission? Is that what you asked?
Professional.
Professional. Oh, her professional monthly mission.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that what we wrote down that you said that we should look at? And it says what everybody's roles are in the
Like the big 5. Is that what you mean when you say professional?
A role is not a mission. Role isn't a mission. Roles are unique set of skills that a person has that plays a part in fulfilling a monthly mission. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the professional monthly mission is something that has to do with the ministry. It's like what I was wanting to do originally when we created that, it was a few months ago, was we have every month we do 3 to 5 monthly missions. And I would say these are professional monthly missions. These are things that we do with our profession in ministry and service as the Army of Youth together collective. These are professional monthly missions, And I found that people would just do this once a month, and then during their life, during their intentional time, during their discretional time, many people lacked intention. They lacked a definite aim. They lacked goals. They lacked things that they want to accomplish, they want to do. So, and it's like a lot of people have limiting beliefs that that I can't have a goal, that maybe it's selfish to have a goal, or maybe it is unchrist-like to be proactive or intentional, or like there's just a lot of baggage, or maybe it's like it's not Christ-like for me to want and desire to do things. It's better for me to be content and just stuck with where I'm at and not.
Who believes that?
All of those beliefs are held in the house. I don't want to just call out people's names, but all of the beliefs are in the house. And they're preventing people from having. I want to encourage people not just to do what they're told. I want to encourage people to have a dream, have a goal. Like I've been fighting for this for like a year and a half to help people believe. Some people believe they don't have a future, and that there's no point in having a goal because what does it matter? I have no future. So there's actually multiple people in the house who believe that, and these beliefs hold people back from dreaming, from like having like personal motivation. And so what I've been seeking to do for like a year and a half is help break the beliefs that people have had from childhood, from ministries, from poverty preachers, from poverty parents, poverty programming, to help you see, no, you can dream, you can have a belief, you can do things, and it's not just possible, it's possible for you as an individual. Not just possible, it's actually God's plan and His desire for you to have these dreams and exceed them. Go ahead.
So if they don't see that or they have those beliefs, how would they be able to participate in this?
I think people have made a lot more progress than before. But to answer your question, because of those beliefs, I made a distinction between professional and personal, because my attempt was attempting to encourage people to have a personal mission, to not only wait for us professionally to figure out 3 to 5 things, that they're only going to do it if they're the DRI. I want to encourage people to just have, like for me, like I have a monthly challenge. Like I have a challenge, one skill I want to master. That's a personal monthly mission. For me, this month I'm going to study this. I'm going to master this skill. My personal monthly mission is the attractive character, but it does some overlap too. But that's personal. Like I want to personally connect with people.
What's an individual mission again?
Hold on, I'll get to that. Yes.
So does everyone know that? It's the thing about it is it's one thing to share this and to hope that everyone's not going to get this on the same level as others.
Yeah.
Right? And so depending on the person and their level of understanding will be their level of commitment.
For sure.
Right?
Totally.
And so, like, in that right there, it will take getting those people up with different levels up to par. And that takes effort.
Completely agree.
And it takes, they take individual coaching or group coaching or whatever the case may be, but I think it starts at the basis of linking and associating, getting them to understand based on where they're at. And it may be other ways to help them to come up to that, to understand that.
That's what I've been seeking to do for the last year and a half.
So what other ways are you thinking of to do it?
Like the individual one-on-one coaching, I've been doing that. Figuring out their whys, figuring out where they're at, figuring out what they're learning to believe. The reason I can share with you what all the beliefs are is because I've had multiple hours with each person individually with uncovering and understanding and seeing where they're from, and then giving people opportunities or being intentional about exposing them to ideas or training or concepts, books, having more conversations, working with mom to help people with those. So like the reason why mom's doing transformation coaching is to address that very thing that you're talking about right there. Is to help people where they're at individually and help them to get to the next step so that they can have a personal life that they desire, a life that they enjoy, a life that they can enjoy the process of living. And that's why Mom's working with people, I'm working with people, and I'm working with Mom to teach her how to work with people. And Mom
Which helps me.
Yeah, it helps her. And by me allowing Mom to do that, that's part of the thing that's helped Mom to have personal mission, personal purpose, personal pursuit of happiness and drive. So that's been helping with her, it's been helping with others. So it's just I believe the most high leverage thing, the area, and I've said this for many months too. How many of you guys have heard me say the number one area where I need the most support in is communication?
Yes.
When I say that, the communication I'm talking about is the conversations Denzel just described. That's the area I need the most help with helping people dislodge these beliefs that are holding them back from being personally motivated and driven and enjoy the work that they do. And because everything we're doing in ministry is impossible unless these beliefs are there. And I recognize that. But I am testing, analyze, revise, remobilize. I'm testing everything in my power to do that. And I'm tweaking and adjusting, and I'm trying out different things actively to solve that problem you described. Would you like to help with that?
Maybe the Moses method that might help.
The Moses method?
The Moses method might help.
One thing I believe would help is Jesus sent out the disciples 2 by 2. I think partners are very key. And I think you're right, the Moses method is extremely helpful. I think one of the ways that could help the most, currently the solution that I see, and I'm totally open for others, is if you were able to work with Mom to do transformational coaching with the exact problem that you just described, with that in mind. That is the entire foundation and purpose why she started doing that. So and I think together, the two of you are more powerful than if you did it by yourself or if she did it by herself, and I could work with you and Mom and you, and we can still do things together, and like you sat in with Sherry and I, and I think that mixture, I believe, would help move that purpose forward.
So are you saying that for me and Denzel to work with Kathy together and Sherry together and Shanicia?
Whoever,
is that what you're saying?
Yes, but whoever's open to it, and not forcing anyone to do that, but it requires rapport and trust and opportunity. Right. We're all here together learning, so I think it could work. But yes, that's what I'm talking about. Having a time to talk with two people that are specifically working towards helping to learn these skills, and who genuinely care for your soul, care for your life, and want to see you thrive, and want to see your chains fall off so that you can be free in Christ. And I believe that Denzel has that heart of service, and Denzel has skills that Mom doesn't have, Mom has skills that Denzel doesn't have, and together I think they could add more value to people during the transformational coaching than if Mom just did it by herself. Jesus sent them out 2 by 2. And it reminds me a lot about the Bible work that I've done. Everything I've learned in Bible work, you go 2 by 2, and there's a myriad stack of reasons to have 2 instead of 1.
I think we all should go 2 by 2 and do it.
Yeah, but not everybody, I totally agree, not everybody's interested in prioritizing their time to learn the 10 tools of transformation.
And we think go good with selling.
Yeah, it is selling, yes.
I want to do it.
You want
to learn.
Do what?
I take people through the transformational toolbox process.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
I do too.
I want to be a practical biblical psychologist.
That's good.
It's good with selling too. People are interested in that.
And you guys gotta really listen to what Cameron just said. Cameron doesn't speak very much, so when he speaks, it's really good to pay attention. What did he just say that he wanted to be?
Practical biblical.
Biblical. Yes.
That's not what he said.
Not exactly.
No, exactly what did he say? Because the way you influence people is by what already influences them. And if he says one thing and you reword it and say something else, you won't have influence with him.
Colin wants to be able to teach the transformational toolbox to others, and so do I.
Yeah, what does he want to be though?
He said it.
Practical.
I heard it by like 3 people. Yeah, practical.
Like a therapist. I don't remember the exact word he said, but
Who has it? Who remembers?
who knows the exact words? Did anybody hear?
Go
Oh,
for it,
he
Vince.
does.
I think he's a practical biblical psychologist.
I think it was a biblical practical psychologist. But yeah,
Okay.
and the practical psychologist is like either like an Ellen White terminology or Tony Robbins terminology. But you see that his desire is to be a practical psychologist. So when you're asking him if he wants to be a part, if he wants to join transformation coaching, you don't say like, hey, it's our time, you can be ready for us? You don't do that, because then you're asking him for time, and he's like, I'm in the middle of something. You ask, hey, are you ready to develop your skills, get experience as a practical biblical psychologist? And he's like, yeah. It's a lot easier, because that has deep, significant meaning to Karma. That is a deep-seated desire
Let me put that
and
in my
dream that
phone.
he has. When people speak, we want to be really intentional about listening to what they say. And what are their dreams? Know the dreams of each other. It matters. And I have that dream too. Like, I resonate because I want to be a biblical, practical psychologist. Every time I hear it, my heart sings because I'm like, yeah, me too. Like, that's my mission in life. Okay, so Conran, Sherry, who else wanted to be involved with that? You do,
I
Kathy?
do.
Katharina?
Oh,
I guess so.
And I don't want you guys just to be saying like I do because everyone else is. I want you to like, this is a commitment. This is time. This is focus. This is energy.
Yeah, but
And
we're
you
not
raise your
all
hand,
gonna
Kathy.
go at one time. How are we gonna figure out doing that? Shanice did this.
Shanice,
No, I was.
oh,
hold on.
go ahead.
That was my reason for not saying anything, because it's not that I don't want to know this stuff and I don't know that it's transformational, but it's to prioritize the amount of time that it takes to learn it right now. It's like I don't know how to.
And if you don't, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
You don't have to.
When you say
Yeah.
yes to one thing,
You say no to something else. And this is going to be hard. It will be one of the most difficult things you've ever done in your life. It is not easy, but I believe it's worth
It's one
it.
of the most rewarding things.
True.
I know of no framework that we teach in the Army of Youth. I don't know of a single framework that I believe is more valuable, more life-transforming, more impactful, and high leverage than the 10 tools of transformation in the transformation toolbox. Those 10 tools, I believe, are the most powerful things that we have. That's my personal belief, and Mom holds the same belief. Like, we teach a lot of things and they're life transforming, they're great, but I don't think anything compares to that.
Because it gets to the root of our issues.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a single thing we can act on that learning those, mastering that for ourselves. Like the 3 phases of mastery: self-mastery, one-on-one mastery, one-to-many mastery. I think all of that would help us all to perform at a higher level. So, okay, cool. So I got,
Hey,
what's up?
are you like writing stuff on the screen?
Yes, I'm writing things on the board.
On the whiteboard?
Yeah, on the whiteboard.
Is there a way that I can see it or no? Or are you not reading?
If you're on YouTube, it's live streaming to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
But Carmen is turning on something, so you should be able to. Thanks for asking. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, so Denzel, I didn't hear. You can say no, but did you? Is that something you want to do?
Yeah.
I think we talked about it the other day, but it doesn't hurt to confirm. All right, this just helps my mind. And I don't want to do this just because it's social proof of everyone saying yes, and I know it's easier to influence a group than it is to influence one, because everyone's doing it. If this is your guys' desire, then we could figure out a way, like what Mom was saying, practically we're not all doing it at once. I don't expect us all to do it at once, but...
Kind of figured out.
okay, but let's not do that right now. It's not the purpose of the conversation. We can do this
I
during
just
team time
wanted
or
your
figure
minds to
something
be at rest.
out. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. But it's kind of good to have people at unrest problem solving and think, what could we do?
No, okay.
Opens up possibilities. So what I want to talk about briefly is you. How does your role fit with the monthly missions? What are the monthly missions? What monthly missions do we have? Where are our monthly missions? I want to ask, not Kamran or Denzel, Shanice, or Katharina. I want to ask, and not you, I want to ask you two. Where is the one place on Notion where you find the monthly missions? And it's always up to date, accurate. One place. Not you, Mom. I think Mom just figured it out this week.
I always find him in Notion on the debriefing
You know why that's a bad idea?
because the monthly debriefing changes. That's where they're at every month.
Katharina,
Every week.
can you explain to Kathy why it's a bad idea for her to access the monthly missions on the debriefing or the monthly meeting? She's a scribe. She would know.
I'm sorry. I just like my headphones were like going back out, and so you're asking me why it's not a good idea to access the monthly missions on the monthly meetings
Yes, or the weekly
or like
debriefings.
the temporary meetings. Because after we're done with it, we're supposed to unsync it so they're not up to date. 'Cause
What's not
otherwise
up to
they would
date?
change every time we had monthly missions.
What's not up to date? Specifically,
The monthly missions, the stepping stones.
the monthly missions are up to date. The stepping stones are not up to date. You look confused. Why do you look confused?
Because I keep that box open so that whenever I want to go to the stepping stones, and they're always there, they always look the same. I mean, I bring it up and I read over the stepping stones and mark off what's done and what's not done from the weekly debriefings.
Yeah.
And then the next week it's a different one. The next week it's a different one. And those aren't up to date after Monday when we leave it?
Do you know what the sync block is?
Not quite.
Sync block is a special kind of block on Notion. Do you know what a block is?
Probably not.
A block is just the basic, it's a building block Notion uses. A block could be a text block for writing. It could be a bullet block for making bullets, a numbered list block for making numbered lists, or it could be a toggle block for making a toggle. It's just anything you see on Notion editor is a block. It's all based, it's just, there's like 20 different types of blocks.
Okay.
So there's a special block, it's called a sync block, that allows you to, anytime you edit here, like I could edit on my account book and it'll sync everywhere that sync block is found. And it's red. Do you see when there's like that red?
Yeah, I do.
That's called a sync block.
Okay.
When it is not red, it is not synced. You know what that means?
That's not up to date then.
It's not up to date. So when I
As long
edit on
as
the
the
account
red
book,
is around it though, it is?
yes.
Okay.
So I will say this: your system and Katharina's system are at war with each other. They're not in harmony. The reason why is because the reason you can go to the weekly debriefing and still see the monthly missions sometimes it's sync block. That's because Katharina is seeking. You have to open the bottom thing, and then no.
Oh, this?
Yeah, that's only for the legs.
No wonder it's sprawled out like that.
The reason why sometimes it's synced when you go to the weekly debriefing is because Katharina's still developing the habit. She's trying to do that. She's asking us to remind her to unsync it. We want to unsync it because the way it is now, if we don't unsync it, 3 years from now, the monthly mission from that month is going to be the same one as what's active in 3 years. And we don't want that. And so by unsyncing, it freezes it in time with that date, so that it's only up to date from that date, which is
Okay.
good.
Okay.
And we want to help encourage her to do that. Otherwise, it's all like our notes won't actually be accurate. And the stepping stones that people add to it, you won't see when people add to them between the weekly debriefings.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So now that we realize that, where is the one place that will always have the most up-to-date, accurate, reliable monthly missions? Do you know, Denzel?
Can I
Session
answer?
calendar?
Or should I? Never mind. I'll wait.
No, don't answer. It is not the session calendar. I wanna ask people who I least likely think know the answer, so that when they hear the answer, it'll be more remembered.
All right. Ask that question again.
Where is the one page on Notion that would have the the accurate, up-to-date monthly missions, always. If it's not
Can
the
I
weekly
say if they
debriefing or
don't
monthly
know?
meeting.
If it's
I
not
will.
synced, you're saying.
Other
Because if it's
than
synced,
the debriefings.
if it's synced, then it doesn't matter where you go.
It does, because the only place it would be synced is on our personal stuff, if not this one place.
I don't get it because she was saying that she goes to a specific place and every time she goes there, it's always there where she needs it.
This week, the next week, Katharina is changing that system. She's implementing something different. So I'm sharing that with her because that's not long term going to work.
Okay, but that's true though. It's accurate what she said.
What did she say?
She said she answers your question.
I don't think every time she goes there they're the same. I think she didn't realize that red, if it's not, I don't think she was looking for the red, or sometimes she's looking at it, it appears that it's synced or that it's up to date, but it's not, it's missing things.
Does she have a difficult time going and finding the stepping stones? If not, based on her understanding, she may not be able to
She
know
knows how
what
to
a
find
sync
it.
block it is or whatever case, but she know how to find it.
As long as she knows this page that we're about to share, she will have no difficulty.
Okay. Well, every time I go to the specific or many of other pages that I go to for time or whatever the case may be, because it is synced, I always find stepping stones there.
Okay, it's not going to be there anymore. So this is good for you too to realize that this as well.
So now, so
It
the
won't
question changed.
The question is, where's the one page that will always be reliable? You always have the most up-to-date monthly mission. It's a very quick answer.
I would not know that.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Mom. What's the answer?
It is on the ministry desire ladder.
The Ministry Desire Ladder. The Ministry Desire Ladder is where we want to access the monthly meetings. If it's not in your personal, if you don't sync it in your personal pages, those are always going to be fine. But the weekly debriefing, the session calendar, the monthly debriefing, those are not going to be updated. If you update stuff on there, nobody will see your updates.
What do you mean not going to be updated?
They're not going to be updated. Okay, I don't think you were listening when we were talking with Kathy. If those are synced, honestly, here's another thing. If anybody sees if you're on an old weekly debriefing or a monthly meeting, and you notice that they're synced, please unsync it immediately.
Is the way we know how to do that. How do you know? How do we unsync?
In the top right corner, there's 3 dots. At the red box, top right of the red box, 3 dots, you hit unsync.
Okay, so I want to get this clear. Are you saying that the ministry desire ladder is that the only page to access? That will be the only page to access to see the monthly missions.
I'm saying that will be the only page that will be the main page that everybody has access to, that will always be reliable. There's no guarantee that other pages will be reliable, but if you take that and you sync it to your account book like I did, my account book's always going to have it, but Sherry can't access my account book. But the Ministry Desire Ladder.
Maybe you know something, because I don't see the benefits of knowing that.
I do now.
It doesn't benefit me.
What do you see
where it's at?
Because the Ministry Desire Ladder, I don't have to read through all the notes or anything. Now I can see annual aims, quarterly quests, and monthly missions, and that's all I'm really interested in, is going to my monthly mission and seeing my stepping stones. So I can see it. Yeah, that's cool.
It's really nice.
Monthly desire.
It eliminates the useless, unrelated things, and it focuses your mind. Also, the quarterly quests, out of sight, out of mind, it gives you an opportunity to look at those again.
Got it.
But can I have some help? Can Katharina have some help that if you ever see a weekly debriefing or monthly meeting that has a synced block, can you unsync it, please? When it's over. Otherwise, it's gonna 3 years from now, it's gonna say whatever that active monthly meeting is in our notes for our archives of 3 years ago, and we don't want that to be what's up to date. We got
Makes
we got a
sense.
bunch of weeks like that, and we totally. Well, it's new, so it's just a mistake that's part of the growth process. Would you guys be willing to help to unsync those if you stumble upon it?
Okay, so say it again. Unsync the.
Monthly, any of the planning scopes, quarterly quests, monthly meetings, or annual aims. If you see it in the session calendar that is not synced.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd be willing to, but
Thank you
now
guys
that I'm
so
gonna
much.
go here, I won't be seeing them anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. And you're right, Denzel. Like you have more options to find a sync block, like the Work-A-Thon thing. But it's mostly for them to be aware of, because they have a harder time navigating it. So having one place is really it clarifies for them. You have options. You like options. You can use options. We use options, but they just want one thing for now. So, if we have that open, what are the monthly meetings?
Monthly missions?
Yes, thank you. What are the monthly missions? Desire ladder.
Do we say our own or what?
No, just share what they are. We can take turns reading one.
Okay, I'll read one. It says Comron will lead the team to create a system for consistently using content prize by March 30th, 2022, as measured by identifying the MKRs for each phase in the pipeline and who will do how many of what by when.
Someone put all those monthly meetings in a toggle.
I did.
Why?
Because they're so you can find them really easy.
You don't find them easy like that.
Yeah. Because they're all on. I did that with everything. See, if you close the toggle, you can see you can open it when you need to. That way you can get to the annual aims really quick or the quarterly quest, whatever you're looking for really quick.
They're huge words and red and bolds. It's going to be hard to miss them.
Do you want me to undo it?
Yeah, please don't put them in
Okay.
toggles.
Okay.
So we have the let's start with the funnel hub actually. Now someone's typing a list of 1 to 5 on the monthly missions.
I'm not.
These are not for
I was
people
just
to edit.
doing Control Z for what I was doing.
Control Z. I already deleted your toggle. There's a bunch of
Oh, okay.
now there's
Yeah,
a
I
bunch
did
of
that.
toggles.
All right. Well, you fix that for me then. Since I'm messing it up. I told you I'd fix it. I was going to do Control Z, so everything that I did would just undo.
I don't know if it works that way, because now everything is adjusted again.
When we do Control Z?
No, that's you changed everything again.
Okay. That's because I was doing Control Z. Go ahead and talk and that'll settle out.
I can't see anything. I don't
You
know
can't
where I'm
see?
at. You've rearranged the page, the monthly meetings. I'm trying to read. We have
And
how
we
many?
do
They all say
Control-
1.
I could say Control Y. That's because Enoch has one and Cameron has one. Kathy has one.
It looks like they were duplicated. It looks like you duplicated them.
I did. I duplicated them, put them in the toggle, and then erased the ones below. That's what I did.
That's how you duplicate entire databases. And then every page in there when they're embedded get duplicated too.
Okay. Sorry if I messed it up,
Uh,
which I did. Sorry.
Okay. So, do you see the funnel hub? It's towards the middle. It says number 1. It says 1, 2, 3, 4.
On the month
We're
one?
missing 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it say? See
It
Denzel's?
says, no, number 4 says Enoch.
I said number 1.
It sounds like you said 4. I got 1, 2, 3 ones.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's what mine says. Those are the last 4.
The last 4. Denzel. Yeah, he's the first one.
Okay. Do you want to read that?
Who, me?
Yes, please.
Oh. Denzel will work with the team to create an EnochLeffingwell.com funnel hub on Bluehost that positions Enoch as a business coach by March 30th, 2022, as measured by creating homepage, speaker page, about page, resource page, value ladder page.
Okay, so with this monthly mission, one of the most important things we could do to find out how to help is to understand, like remember, like the first step. Who remembers the first word to learning any skill? Okay, we talked about yesterday in the leadership table.
First word?
Yeah, the first word.
Visualize.
Yes, visualize. And what is, in context of categorizing learning skills, what does that visualize mean? What are we visualizing?
The end. What it'll look like.
No.
Visualizing a dream.
No.
What?
You're visualizing the labels, the building blocks. You're visualizing the words. You're categorizing what that skill is. Now, you may be asking, what does this have to do with skills? We are talking about creating a funnel hub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's going to be unique skills that are required for building a funnel?
Definitely.
Yes. So what we want to know is, what are the building blocks of a funnel hub? Because the more you know what those words mean, the more you'll be able to know how to help others, how you fit in making that happen. Does that make sense? So where do you find the labels for what this is talking about? You're looking for a list of words, building blocks, sub-skills, or sub-parts, or milestones. This is where we need to be proactive in understanding what is actually being done. Because are you going to help something that you don't understand about?
No.
No. But I would submit to you, an old belief would be like, well, if I don't understand it, how can I help? I would submit to you is that when you understand, then you can help, or as you understand, because I guarantee you there are things that each one of you 3 could individually do to make that move forward, but until you know what the word means, you won't know how your role and your part, your skills fits in making that section work.
So we need to seek to understand.
Yeah, seek to understand what those words mean. And it's not a steep learning curve, it's very short and brief. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like, when you guys hear like the home page or speaker page, about page, like you think, like on a scale from 1 to 10, how involved do you think that you are with this monthly mission, Mom? As far as your unique skills?
I think I could come up with
one of the 6
stories and stuff.
Oh, stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I could be pretty involved in it.
So which page is the stories about?
Let's see where he was.
You don't have to open anything, just read number 2.
Number 2. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Kamran, for updating or fixing this
home
stuff.
page, the speaker page, about
Yes.
page.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe the home page. I don't know.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. So you get to see that you're very involved in that. So part of the 6-minute punch that I'm looking for is for you to see a possible individual monthly mission could be something like, how can you help the attractive character is a part of this character. It's a part of this monthly mission, right? And you've known me the longest, and you can help craft those things. Probably know me the best too. So that's a big part. They can help with email marketing, work with Shanicia, work with me, work with the team in helping with the about page, the speaker page, and some of those things. Does that make sense? So that could be one That could be one of the 3 6-inch pies. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something even potentially Kathy knows a lot of stories.
We all do.
She's yeah, it's true. And it's like just we're looking at possibilities and what could be. She knows my character well. We've known each other for a very long time, and seen lots of the videos, things that she likes, what things that she thinks could connect, and she's been very good with those types. That she taught me a lot about tact and taught me a lot about communicating with people. So that is also an area that she could really make a major contribution to the monthly mission of the Funnel Hub. Kind of in that way, with like the content stories thing. She likes stories, just like, and really anyone could do that. But I'm just saying, like, when asking the question, how could I help? This is an example, or it could be like, I'm using you as an example, especially because that's what I want to do.
Because that's what I want to do.
Well, that is what I want to do, because that we are having this conversation because I want to help you to find these 3. Once we find these 3 things, and I'm like, let's break and let's go. But it's okay. I think we're just a few minutes away. I'll try to do that soon. Does that make sense? What you want to do is, you pointed out all those things that you could do, but you want to be specific. Like, what specifically could you do to help
label it
with the Funnel Hub?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Now I had to think of 2 other things that I could do with the Funnel Hub.
Not with the Funnel Hub, just with these 3-month missions.
Oh, well, on the email marketing is the same because
email marketing is not a monthly mission.
Oh, why is that on there?
Because that is her specific role, and how her role, the same exercise I'm doing with you right now, I did with Shanicia, and we listed out 2 of her big roles, her big 5 roles, and how her big 5 roles fit with these 3 to 5 monthly missions. Because her name is not one of the directly responsible individuals. We're doing the same thing with you.
Oh, okay, so then another thing I do is I help Kathy with Tiller.
Yes, you help Kathy with Tiller. So what you want to do is, based on that, not just helping her with it, what specific outcome?
Well, we need to hire somebody.
Okay, you need to hire someone.
Mm-hmm.
That
go
is
through those tabs.
that's what the mission is, to hire someone. That's not specific to you as an individual. What part can you specifically play in making that happen?
Well, I could sit with Kathy and go through the same training that she goes through at the same time.
If we're going to hire someone to do the initial setup, then we probably don't need to be spending a lot of time setting it up. We're going to outsource that to someone else. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the time that you would sit going through the training, trying to set it up, it would be better that you go through the tiller, the community, think of solutions, where to find people, what expectations, what prices. Like yesterday we talked about what are the outcomes that we want. We wrote them down so it's clear expectations for someone we hired.
Okay.
Then we identified a budget that we're willing to spend to be able to make that happen.
Okay.
And then we thought, like, well, if we don't find someone from Tiller, we're thinking of resources like the lady from the Philippines. She was really, really quality. She doesn't know Tiller. So we're thinking, we gotta find, like, what are places that people know Tiller that we could find people.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do along those lines? Specific, very specific. Like, I'll give you an example. Research, okay, that's good. Let me give you an example real quick and let's explore that. So Shanicia asked this really, really great question. You want to know what she asked?
What question she asked?
Like in the beginning when she's like going through these 3 to 5 monthly missions,
Yeah.
and she asked an amazing question. You want to know what it was?
Yes.
She was going through these missions and she got to Tiller, and then she was tempted to ask like I don't have anything to do with that, right? Or it's like, that doesn't involve me, or does that involve me, or I can't do anything with that, right? But she asked instead, how can I help? She says, what could I do to help with the tiller monthly mission? And you know what that did?
Open up the doors.
That opened up the doors of possibility. Instead of Shanicia assuming I'm useless to this mission, there's nothing valuable I can contribute to this mission, or when I am needed, I will be asked. She goes and she's like, what could I do to help with the tiller situation? And you know, when she asked that, we were in the midst of the, what's it called? Abigail. We were just in the midst of Abigail. So all hands on deck, really intense with that. So Kathy is saying that because you and I are caught up with Abigail, therefore that means that we're going to postpone this until Abigail is over. There's nothing we can do to move forward. And I believe that that's just not true at all. What I want to encourage the director responsible individuals is for them to identify what are the resources available. Like Shanicia has been a resource from the very beginning. She is an option. And like my encouragement for all is like Kathy to help create individual monthly missions for others, to be clear on like what could people's skills or abilities be. That's the goal, the vision that we're working towards together. But when she asked that, then I was thinking, oh, what could she do? Like if she asked, can I help? It's easy to say, oh, probably not. You could go, you're doing email marketing, you could go do something else. Then that makes it hard for me to answer. But she asked, how can she help? Okay, assuming she could help, I'm thinking about her skills. She doesn't mind making phone calls, she doesn't mind reaching out to people, she's pretty good at communicating. I was thinking like, well, if mom wrote an ad, it would probably be missing some key pieces. It might have mom might assume that there's some stuff there, and it might be some miscommunication. But if Shanicia writes in like a job ad listing, then as long as we gave her the things that we needed, that she'd be pretty clear on being able to do that, and then clarify with others. And she's pretty consistent with going back and forth. Mom's consistent with going back and forth, but mom's preoccupied with Abigail. So I'm like, there's some similar overlap in skills. I'm like, hey, what if Shanicia got on the Tiller community and posted the listing? Would you be interested in helping with that? That would at least get the job rolling. We need someone to find out, where do we post? Are we allowed to post? Go reach out to them and ask an email to say, hey, how would you recommend we go about finding someone in the community to do this for us? So she's like, yeah, I could do that. That sounds simple. And look how that alone helped us to move forward from where we were stuck. Because without her, we wouldn't have been somewhere. And thinking that we can't move forward without Abigail. So she's able to work on that while we're working on Abigail. Now we're working simultaneously. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That was an example of being able to help when you're tempted to think you can't. You taking notes, Mom? What are you taking notes on?
Well, because you said something. You said I'd be likely to be missing some key pieces in the ad. And to be honest with you, when I'm writing an ad, I don't even think about the key pieces. And so I was writing down what are the key pieces so that I could do that.
That's right. That's good. Amen. And those are the key pieces. Are basically setting very clear expectations. Those need to be there. Otherwise, if we assume people get things, like Kathy and I were talking, she's like, we need someone to set up Tiller. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what key pieces do we need set up? And then it was like, what do you want for the auto categories? And she's like, well, I would assume that that's a part of setting it up. I'm like, yeah, you would, but would they? And like, what does that look like? So we have to really craft it. And she's like, well, having everything automatic so that it just automatically transact, they're able to transact things. And she described more details. Like, that's great. That's a key piece. That's like an outcome and expectation we have. So that would be a major element that we would need to move this forward. These are kind of like how we find the individual monthly mission. But also, I would say another portion of this.
Can I ask something really fast?
Yes, please do.
What is the I in DRI? Direct responsible.
Directly responsible individual.
Individual.
Not direct.
Okay. Thank you.
But that's not the only responsible individual, which we get that. So basically, the individual monthly mission allows you to be directly responsible for this individual thing and an outcome you're going to do for this month that is dependent upon you. The group monthly mission is dependent upon your individual effort in order to make that happen. So we can ask how. So what is something that you could do with Tiller very specifically?
I could help brainstorm.
You can help brainstorm. Oh yeah, you were saying research. What could you help research?
What it takes to hire somebody to from Tiller, safely hire somebody from Tiller, and
Okay.
to have our best efforts to come up with something good instead of us bumping around. You know, probably learning what other people already know.
Yeah. See how these questions lead you to higher leverage, high productive things rather than like things that could be busy work? Like think about like the two alternatives that we just discussed. One is you and Kathy could like sit down and learn how to set up Tiller together and watch tutorials setting up Tiller that we're going to outsource in a week or two. Where do you think that would be on a scale from 1 to 10?
A 2.
A 2, okay. Or a 2, you researching how to hire someone on Tiller correctly and getting a lot of clarity of what are the steps and the pitfalls to avoid and the successes that we could model to hire someone. Where do you think that would be on a scale of 1 to 10?
It would be a 10.
Isn't that amazing how it's just one question that...
It is.
And then it's this process of visualizing, which a lot of people, if we're not used to brainstorming, or if we're not used to thinking, that this 10 minutes in thinking can save us
So much pain and
hours
hours
of learning
Yeah.
a skill that is, I wouldn't say useless, but learning a skill that's going to be replaced. Or like being busy doing something that's not going to be used in a moment. Not saying that it won't be used, because once we manage them, it'd still be good for us to navigate. But
Seems like we would need to know it in order to share it with someone.
I agree. There's a level that we need to be able to know so we can manage totally. Yeah, that's why it would be like a 2. I think it's more in context of our timing of what's high priority now
Higher
compared
priority.
to, highest consequences. Compared to hiring someone, then it's really important to learn these skills. And it's just with like the brainstorming is important because it saves us a lot in execution. You can spend 2 hours learning stuff, but you're not going to get any further leveraging someone who's an expert.
And sometimes you could do something that you can't undo.
Yes, and the hardest work we can do is to think. So this is the thinking. Questions is the process of thinking. So now you've got a possible one for Tiller. Now what about content? What could you do this month, an outcome that you could work on this month to help move our content's goals forward? Remember, what is the belief when we ask? Whenever you're tempted to say, I don't know, repeat three statements. Do you know what those 3 are?
How can I help to move this forward?
Nope. Well, once you ask that question, how can I help to move this forward? There's 3 beliefs. Or there's 1 belief.
I
and
can
3
do it. It can be fun, and I'm out to get it done.
Not quite.
You're close there.
Yeah, you're close.
Some thought is there. There is an answer.
I will find it,
Good.
And what else?
and
yeah,
it will
well,
be something when
worth-
I do it.
Words.
Worth it when I do it.
Because really think, when God says, ask in faith, not wavering, how does faith come?
By reading the word.
By hearing words. What is a belief?
Collection of words.
It's just a collection of words. It's just a phrase of words. So when you ask the question, how can I help to move this forward? And you're asking in faith with belief and conviction, it's literally the expression of a phrase of words. Saying, I don't know, and this isn't for you, this is for everyone. Saying, I don't know is a belief it shuts down and asks in doubt. Don't think you're going to get any answer.
And I don't.
I don't know is a phrase, which means it's a belief. It's a belief in an outcome we don't desire. It's a belief in scarcity. So literally, when you ask the question, express verbally, say it. There is an answer. I will find it. It'll be worth it when I do.
It'll be worth it when I do.
And the more emotion that you express, or like that you generate while you say those words, thoughts and feelings combined make up the moral character. That character of certainty and confidence is what leaders have to get things done and to accomplish outcomes, to turn visions into realities. And yesterday everyone told me you want to turn visions into realities. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I learned today with Shanicia, anytime we're tempted to say, I don't know, overcome evil with good and say, there is an answer, I will find it, it'll be worth it when I do. Let I don't know be a trigger.
To say that.
Say that instead. Isn't that powerful?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited about that.
So that's Cameron's thing, right?
Yes, Cameron's. We can read it. Let's go ahead and read it. This is going to take the ability to relate or associate. This is what we're doing. This is the skill that we require. Associate and remix. Associate. Associate. Can you read it out loud?
Yeah, it says Cameron will lead the team to create a system for consistently using content prize by March 30th as measured by identifying the MKRs for each phase in the pipeline and who will do how many of what by when. I don't even know who does what.
Yet.
Yes.
You see the I don't know yet. So with this goal being said, you have to like absolutely believe. Even if I don't know what it is, I already believe with conviction that there is a way you can help. That is so unique to your skills, your roles, your interests, your passions, your joy. I have a full belief that, starting with that foundation, that there is something, we just got to find it. And what is going to allow us to find it? Questions. Jesus says, what you focus on, you find. And what directs our focus? Questions. What you question, you will find answers to.
You know, I know there's a lot of things going on, and you guys are doing a lot of, what are they called? Missions. And on top of all these missions, there's a lot of things that I have to do too. I don't want this mission.
You were saying the same thing as Katharina was saying. You were saying the same thing before. We don't have a lot going on. We have 3 to 5 things. We just have 3 to 5 things going on. And really 2 of them are supporting the other 3. We mostly have 3 missions. So it's not a whole bunch of stuff. It's like we've got like 3 things that we are focusing on for this month.
Well, what I think of when I look at this is that day that you guys are focusing on the content price. I'd rather be focusing on getting the airline ticket or fixing the telephone or returning something or whatever I need to do in that time.
Okay, I get it. There's so much ample time for you to do that.
Yeah.
But you need to have scheduled, structured time, blocks of time that you focus on a theme. Because you have revolving responsibilities. You need a rhythm that you can do something along a theme. And I'm not telling you...
We'll call my theme the revolving responsibility.
Listen, I'm not telling you that you need to log into Content Fries and go do something. That's not what I'm talking about at all.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about relating. Learn to relate. I believe, and I encourage you to just assume. Assume the best. Assume there is a way that you can relate this mission with something you want to do. Something you enjoy. Something you love. Something you are excited about exploring.
Okay.
And if you start there, you're going to find really good answers. I guarantee you.
Right.
But if you believe that you don't want to, you're not going to find anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to make another note. So we ask, how can I help move the mission forward? Mom's like, well, nothing's really coming to mind. I believe there's an answer. I will find it. It'll be worth it when I do. Maybe I got to change my question. So how can it's not necessarily just one great question that's going to do it all. Sometimes we've got to ask a second great question. So let me rephrase it, and this might help us to relate. This is a relating question. You ask, what am I already doing now that has to do with content?
Am I doing something?
Yes. No. That's a lousy question. It's not yes or no. Your mind is instantly going to say, no, I'm not doing anything with content. Am I doing anything with content? Ask, what am I already doing? Assume there is an answer. I will find it. It'll be worth it when I do.
The transformational tool.
Sherry knows.
Oh, slides.
Boom. That got it real quick.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? See how
She knew about
fast
as
that
much
was?
as I did.
Yeah. I know she looked confused, but I wanted her to have that experience so she could remember faster. There's more
So work
emotion.
on slides during that time.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. And I'm not even necessarily saying like that whole work-a-thon and doing all that like each week, like it just a portion of the work-a-thon you could work on slides. And that helps you because you have a weekly like slide, like updating the master slides, like we do at every leadership table, we want to move it. So you need some sort of weekly block
So that's
of time.
on Tuesdays?
That's on
Monday.
Thursday.
That's
Is
on
it
Thursday?
Yeah.
Do we work together on Tuesday or Thursday? On Thursday? No, today's
We did
Wednesday.
work
It was
together
yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday's
But he needs it to be on. No, that was yesterday.
Here's the thing. You can do it Tuesday, you can do it Thursday, you can do it Wednesday. They're along the similar lines.
Okay.
But you and I moved ours to Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working again on Thursday if you girls are available on Tuesdays. And that's
Tuesday works
following
best.
the leadership table. And that's what your
It'll be
mission
very
to
fresh.
to do. Do it, yeah, when it's freshest.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
what
it's
I
exciting.
wanted to do.
And you can review it. So if you made Tuesday Work-A-Thon be that time where you update master slides, and this is great for you too, for an individual multi-mission Sherry, you could see like how this relates.
Right.
And is that something that you enjoy doing, Mom?
Yeah.
Is that something you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you want to be a part of?
Yeah.
See how we just switch where like I don't want to do that to like, hey, I like it. This makes sense. I could prioritize this weekly. See how big of a shift?
You know, I might even want to help with other things, but I haven't taken the time to look because I feel too busy.
Right.
I don't even want to learn content price because I got other things
I
to
hear
do.
you. I would submit to
There's a
you
learning curve.
that you feel so busy because you don't have set, consistent blocks of time that you isolate for a theme. You see how I just created a theme right here? This is a funnel theme or marketing theme.
So tell
This is
me,
a tiller
Nick, when
theme.
is that funnel team what is it called? Hold on, I'm gonna use the right lingo. The funnel team time that's blocked out for the funnel team.
Great question. We do that on it depends, but we do that on Monday. Monday is a time where we often work on funnels.
And then what is the time that's blocked out for it though?
It's Monday morning and 4 o'clock.
Right. So that's like an all day
No, it's
event.
No, it's not. That is a time that is blocked out. You have to understand that that's discretionary time. That's the intention. It's a theme. It's not an event. It's not a conversation. It's not a project we're working on. That's a theme that you could insert anything. You could work on the funnel for 30 minutes, for 30 minutes, 13 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours, like whatever you want to do with breaks. And that's just a theme that it's for. And we don't work on those every time. Sometimes we work on content for Monday because it has to do with content driving traffic to our funnel, and it's marketing because this is the marketing day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So our work-a-thons, I want you to know our work-a-thons is not meetings, they're discretionary time where you take the busy things that you have and you You look at all your list of things to do that overwhelms you and learn to categorize your work into themes and say what Work-A-Thon matches that theme. And that's when you have the abundance of time to do it. It's all discretionary time.
Well, that's smart. You said to look
It's genius.
at the things that overwhelm
Yes. And ask. And Kathy and I do this every Sunday. And it helps.
and fit it into.
And ask what Work-A-Thon fits that theme. Oh yeah, fit it into a category. Categorize it as one of those themes on the Google Calendar.
Well, that's smart.
That's, ever since we created themes, that's what the design was. We got that from Michael Hyatt and his productivity.
I must have missed that part.
Yeah. And there's reasons why you feel overwhelmed. But in the Time Blocking Mastery, you're going to learn about that. You're going to learn about working themes, you're going to learn about blocking time, you're going to be learning about fitting your overwhelm into these blocks of time for that. And there's a concept of super batching where you want to relate similar works together. You feel overwhelmed because you're switching from unrelated task to unrelated task, and when the task says you switch to, you have to reorientate to completely different rules. But like what you and Sherry working right after leadership table on updating master slides, that's a form of super batching.
Fit together.
It fits the theme, so then your theme still works together, and it's just like a smooth transition. You're still in the right frame. You're not reorientating completely different rules. It's the task switching that we call multitasking that makes you feel overwhelmed.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, we feel overwhelmed, so we go to commit to doing one thing. We're like, oh, I got all these things to do, so then I switch.
Yeah, and it's hard to say, okay, I'll leave that behind until next Tuesday because it's lingering in your mind like, oh, that's not done.
Right, and if you know that I have consistent blocks of time that I work on that thing, that category of tasks, and then it's like, out of mind, like it doesn't burn in the mind because you already got it assigned and you know you have a plan for it. You have discretionary time during the Work-A-Thons and you choose those projects.
Okay.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm. It's starting to sound cool, Nick.
I'm glad. So now that you see how we've identified 3 possible individual monthly missions based on your unique skills?
And now I'm going to pick one, what?
Pick one that you believe is going to be the highest leverage. It's going to be the most productive for producing the outcomes we're looking for. What do you think?
For AOI?
Yes. For AOI and yourself, win-win. We want win-win situations that either only you can do, or that you'll make the greatest impact, or that you, and it doesn't mean you're only going to do one. I just want you to know what is the single greatest problem you can solve in the entire ministry this month, so you just know how to prioritize.
Help the ministry the most.
Yeah.
I think on. I don't know.
And it's important to prioritize.
That would be in between the funnel and the tiller, because we can't move until that tiller's done, and that funnel needs to be done. It's like we can't go forward very well without that either.
Okay, let's say like here's another, on a scale of 1 to 10, with the attractive character funnel and the things that you contribute, based on the people who are available to help, if you don't help as, how do I say this? You have very unique things that you're able to contribute, could make a huge difference with the attractive character, crafting a compelling character. But let's say you weren't involved. Do you think that it would still get done and still make some progress? Yes. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like how uniquely dependent are people on your unique skills for this? 10 being the most dependent and 1 being not as dependent.
Well, I don't think I think they'd survive without me.
I think it's like a 3. I think there's a lot that you could do, and once you're involved. But what about researching how to hire tiller? On a scale of 1 to 10.
10.
10. I think so too. I think like this right here, I believe, is the single most important thing we could do to move the tiller mission forward. Like out of all of us combined, I think this, like what Kathy and I just did, was the bottleneck of bottlenecks we needed, and we got that done yesterday, and now it's in your court and then finding out what she sent and things like that. That's I
Okay.
think you're right. Does that make sense? So for you, if everything else fails
Why did
this
that seem
month,
so overwhelming for me when you asked me that question? I'm like, how do I choose between the funnel and the tiller? And you just like so easily.
I'll tell you,
Mhm.
it's the question.
Mhm.
It's the questions that you ask. How do I choose before this? And then you ask with doubt. Like, I don't know. It's like another way of you saying, I don't know how to choose. But I changed the question. You gotta do math or something? What's going on? Why is there
No.
numbers on the screen?
I think I gotta use my finger.
Okay. So, we're closing here. The reason why it felt overwhelming is because you asked the question with a doubt. How do I choose? As though it's like saying, I don't know how to choose.
I didn't know how to choose.
That's a belief. You can choose to believe something else. Like, there is an answer. I will find it. It'll be worth it when I do. Instead of focusing on, even if it's a true statement, focusing on your lack makes you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But when you focus on what you're grateful that you have, there is an answer. I will find it, and it'll be worth it when I do. Then it's like I have the resourcefulness to ask other questions that will find the answer. Because the question is the answer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That creates joy and peace and strength and lifts burdens. But focus on what we don't know, what we're missing, creates overwhelm and stress. And then when we change the question, where are you? People are at the utmost dependent upon you. That helps you to clarify. It's just another prioritizing question. And when you collect prioritizing questions, when you label them as prioritizing questions, you just go through one after another, and then when one prioritizing question didn't give you more clarity, ask a second, that brought you more. Ask the third, and that gave you more, and you're like, wow, now you know exactly what to do. Just a matter of learning to associate and collect prioritizing questions that helps you to prioritize. That's how skill is developed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
So we're good to go. I would encourage you to do all of those, but now we know your highest leverage.
Yes. Thank you.
Is that helpful to everyone? Okay, cool. Right on. Let's close with a word of prayer, shall we? Mom, would you like to pray for us?
Sure.
Okay.
Dear Lord, thank you so much for the clarity to really move people forward, and I thank you for that. Thank you for the patience of the people going through this, and I'm glad that we get to come together and learn together and grow together and move the mission further. And thank you, Lord, for all that you do for us and how you guide us and how you put in Enoch's heart and mind to help each person. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. And this is a process I would like everybody to learn or seek to develop to do for yourself and for others. This is my goal. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but these are the skills and process that I encourage us to do monthly. My monthly mission is to teach you guys this skill.
Cool.
Good.
Sounds good? Cool. I believe it will serve you for the rest of your life. Thank you all for being here. I know that was a lot.
This was good though, copy of what you posted on Teller for the job.
Can you share a screenshot of where you posted it?
Yeah, I can share all that. They're on a stepping stone, but I can send it on Messenger.
The screenshots on the stepping stones?
Yeah.
Can you just send a link to the block?
I can do that too.
That'd be great. Because if it's on the stepping stones, that's very good.
Thank you.
That's why. And Kathy, if on Sunday at 4 when we do the stepping stones,
You're ready?
I know you could be like doing closeout things, but one of the reasons why we do the stepping stones workathon is so that you could like read through the